Yeah, I would agree. And what's cool is like, I feel grateful that I've come in at the time that I have. Like, I haven't experienced, too many terrible locker rooms or practicing in a D3.
Kate Martin just lit the internet on fire, and WNBA haters are in full meltdown mode. She straight up said, yeah, we're getting privileges, and what no apologies, no backtracking, just pure confidence. Meanwhile, old school analysts are going off ranting about hard work, while Kate's casually enjoying her WNBA perks like a queen.
For you, girl.
Like,
that's good. You shouldn't have to.
And you know what? Like, I'm not going to say sorry either. Like, I am thankful for that. Like,
don't. You shouldn't say sorry.
But here's the thing also is like,
it wasn't your fault.
With the landscape of like how sports has changed and everything is like, people, like, we shouldn't feel sorry for like being in this space, and like, we shouldn't feel sorry for like getting things that we deserve that people before us have been fighting for so long. So it's like, I feel grateful that I was born when I was born, and I am here when I...
Kate Martin just bodied every single hater trying to drag Caitlin Clark down, and she did with a smile on her face on Sue Bird's podcast. She basically said, I'm not sorry, and Caitlin's not sorry either. And you know what she shouldn't be. Caitlin Clark has changed the game, and if the WNBA is finally giving her the respect she deserves, then so be it.
With the landscape of like how sports has changed and everything is like, people, like, we shouldn't feel sorry for like being in this space, and like, we shouldn't feel sorry for like getting things that we deserve that people before us have been fighting for so long. So it's like,
let's be real, the WNBA has been starving for attention for years. Players like Cheryl Swoops, Lisa, Leslie, and Tina Thompson. They were grinding when nobody was watching. They were out there hooping in empty arenas getting paid peanuts and praying ESPN would even mention their names. And now the league is finally popping off. But instead of celebrating some of these past players, our Mad Kate didn't stutter. She said, I can't be sorry. That Caitlin and I are getting opportunity y'all didn't get, and that's the energy we need.
Her defense, and, in the pros, when she got some minutes early, just her, her star and people that were really connecting with her. And she's just the greatest young woman. I'm biased. She's my spouse's biological niece, my niece, and she was 5. She'd stay with us. But she had a dream. She put our poster above her bed in her room, looked up at the Hawk poster. And, then she, got good enough to be recruited. And the story is, I loved her, but I removed myself, right? That I told Lisa, I go, you got to fly down and you got to check that. This kid's blue collar. And Lisa flew down and she was like, Dad, right?
Yesterday, speaking about Kate Martin, I'm here to tell you.
Why should she apologize for progress? Should LeBron apologize because NBA players in the 60s had to work part-time jobs? Should Serena Williams say sorry? Because women's tennis used to be ignore evolution is the game, and let's not act like Caitlin Clark hasn't earned every single thing coming her way. The girl is a walking highlight reel. She shoots logo threes like they're layups. She's breaking records that have stood for decades, and let's be honest, a lot of people only started watching women's college basketball. Because of her, it's okay to admit it.
People before us have been fighting for so long. So it's like, I feel grateful that I was born when I was born, and I am here when I am. And so,
at the right time.
But like, it's the same thing with like Caitlin turning down the, 3-point shooting contest and things like that. Is like, come to the WNBA All-Star, like all of these things, like this is great for our sport, but it's also great to like intermix and like for us to be here and like everything Tip said is like, we have more sponsorships, we have more opportunities, and like, it's really cool to be able to showcase all of that, but also let's showcase it at WNBA All-Star too.
But no, people want to act like she's getting all this attention just because she's white. Look, we're not about pretend race, doesn't play a role in media coverage. But let's be real, if Caitlin Clark was putting up these same numbers while being 5 feet 7 inches in an unathletic, nobody would care. She's getting hype because she's a once in a generation player. If you dropped her in any era, she'd still be cooking. And Kate Martin, she's been right there with her. They went to war together at Iowa. So when Kate says, I'm not sorry Caitlin is getting what she deserves, it's not just loyalty, it's facts. Meanwhile, some WNBA vets are throwing shade. Like at a sport back in my day, we had to fly commercial, okay? And does that mean today's players should suffer too? That's like your grandpa saying, I walked 10 miles to school in the snow. Cool story, Gramps. We have Uber now, times change.
I would definitely say my goals, like my short-term goals change year after year. Last year, my goal was to get drafted. And then my goal was to make the roster. And then my goal was, to stay on that team and then give it my best and be ready when my name was called. And so, then my goal in the off season was to work on specific things, and then goal and unrivaled, whatever it is. But my goal for this year, I would say, is just to continue to be confident and know I belong.
Caitlin Clark and this new wave of players are changing the WNBA for the better of the league, is selling out arenas merch, is flying off the show's ratings, are hitting all-time highs. This isn't a bad thing. This is what those older players fought for. Isn't that the point, to leave the game in a better place than you found it? But instead of embracing the change, some of these legends are stuck in bitterness. They want the respect they never got, and they deserve it. But the solution isn't to tear down Caitlin Clark or act like today's players don't deserve success. The solution is to celebrate the progress and make sure it continues. Kate Martin gets it. She understands that you don't have to apologize for taking advantage of the opportunities in front of you. She's not about to dim Caitlin's shine just because the system used to be broken.
I think what Caitlin has done for not just college basketball, but for women's basketball, period, I think has been great. The following, people watching the game, sellouts that we haven't seen ever. It just really bothers me, though, when people just take bits and pieces of what they want to take and they don't listen to everything and you don't hear everything. It wasn't personal. One, it was my opinion on how I think she'll be at the next level, because I do remember me saying that Caitlin, to me, could be the best college shooter I've ever seen. When you put these expectations on these young women in college to go to the next level and be immediately dominant, and when that doesn't happen, then people come back and say, oh, she was a bust, she was a flop, she wasn't that good. Just let them do what they're doing in college, enjoy what they're doing in college, and let them become stars in the WNBA.
Honestly, it's hilarious watching her shut down the critics from WNBA. Vets were expecting her to come on that podcast and be all like, yeah, it's so unfair, we're so lucky. Nope, she basically said cry about it, and we love that energy. So yeah, let's give Caitlin Clark her flowers. Let's give Kate Martin her flowers too, because she's standing on business. The WNBA is finally getting the attention it's always deserved, and instead of arguing about who suffered more, maybe we should just enjoy the moment. Because if this is just the beginning, the future of the league is about to be wild.
This is for everybody who's pretending like they don't understand why Caitlin Clark's getting all the attention when they just showed up to the WNBA discussion too. Let's start with the fact that the women's national championship game outrated the men's by millions. First time that's ever happened. Which is why TV networks already decided to televise almost all of the Indiana Fever games. And road opponents have changed arenas in order to accommodate demand. Because yesterday's price is not today's price. And that's the reason Clark was on SNL ahead of the WNBA draft. And the draft ratings were higher than the previous 6 years combined, with Fanatics reporting Clark's jersey sales were higher than they've ever seen.
Caitlin Clark is out here doing what legends dream of, bringing eyes, money, and a whole lot of conversation to the WNBA. Her best friend Kate Martin sees it firsthand and couldn't be prouder. But while the young guns are reaping the benefits of this new wave, the odds of the game are side-eyeing the situation. Like, where was all this when we were hooping Kate Martin? She's riding the Clark effect like an express train to the big leagues. Undrafted, but scooped up because, well, when your best friend is single-handedly putting butts in seats, you get a little extra shine. It's like rolling with a popular kid in school. You might not have done much, but somehow you still get invited to the VIP section. And to be fair, Kate can hoop, but let's be real, the Caitlin Clark cosign is like winning the basketball lottery.
No one person means as much to their league, whatever league it is, as Caitlin Clark means to the WNBA. And no person has done more for their league than what Caitlin Clark has done for the WNBA. When we look back on this, Caitlin Clark will be for the WNBA what Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were for the NBA. If this thing ever becomes as big as some people think it can become.
Meanwhile, Cheryl Swoops and the old guard are somewhere fuming, shaking their heads like disappointed mothers watching kids get rewarded for chores they had to do for free. Back in the day, Cheryl and company were out here playing elite level basketball while barely getting a handshake, let alone a private jet. Now Caitlin's already got charter flights, media love, and brand deals raining from the sky. The veterans had to fight just to get their checks too. Clear on time. Imagine being a legend, pioneer, someone who put the league on their back when nobody cared, and then waking up in 2024 to see rookies getting treated like royalty It's like working for years to build a house only to watch the new owners waltz and repaint the walls and get all the credit Cheryl Swoops, Lisa, Leslie, and their crew didn't just crawl. So these players could walk, they sprinted through a minefield while getting paid an exposure and good job pats on the back. That Iowa team is a big reason. Well, sorry, it's not a big reason why the Aces have their facility, and it's not a big reason why the Valkyries, but that Iowa team is a big reason for them damn charter flights. We can be honest here, it's a big reason for them charter flights. Let's not forget endorsements. Back in the day, WNBA players got commercials once in a blue moon, and even then they had to share the screen with a mascot. Now Caitlin Clark is out here securing million-dollar deals. Before she even steps on a pro court, it's the classic case of right place, right time, and the Pioneers are side-eyeing the whole situation like, so y'all had the money this whole time. And
I think Kate was one of those players, the way she played and her humility, but also her grit and that little, glisten in her eye and that confidence. It just resonated, right? And you could see the glue, which she became. And then when she got that break to go to the pros, really good coaches know that there's a lot of things that happen with those glue kids. And to see her become a star on the WNBA level, although she was a role player, I loved everything about that.
And don't even get started on the media. When Cheryl Swoops was hooping, you had to dig through the back pages of the newspaper to find a mention of the WNBA. Now you can't go 5 minutes without seeing Caitlin Clark's name trending. The same media that treated past legends like a side dish is now treating Caitlin like the full course meal with dessert included. It's not her fault. But man, if that's not frustrating for the women who paved the way, even the fans, the old school players had to beg people to come to games. And let's talk about those charter flights again, because that's the biggest slap in the face. These past players were taking commercial flights, sitting in the middle seat between a crying baby and someone's emotional support fret, trying to stretch their legs and coach before dropping 30 points the next night. Meanwhile, Caitlin and her crew are boarding private jets like rock stars who plans to commit. The WNBA plans to commit $50 million over the next 2 years to provide full-time charter flight service for its team during the season. The league's commissioner announced this Tuesday in a move that addresses years of player safety concerns. Let's be honest, plus delays, layovers, all the other nonsense that they should never been dealing with Monica. It is about time. The truth is Caitlin Clark deserves all the hype. She's that good. But the past legends deserve their flowers too. If there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that the WNBA has come a long way. But for Cheryl Swoops and the others who put in the blood, sweat, and tears with nothing but pocket change to show for it, watching this new era unfold must feel like the biggest. Where was all this when we needed it moment in sports history? And let's be honest, if Cheryl Swoops played in this era, she'd be making so much money. She'd have her own private island. But instead, she and her fellow legends have to watch from the sidelines, hoping the new generation at least remembers who kicked the door down in the first place. Because if there's one worse than not getting what you deserve, it's watching someone else get it effortlessly after you did all the hard work. Hey gang.
What up? Gang members! Gang members! That's gang members! Hey! We on the side of gang members! Hey! Yeah! 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 Yo, we on the side of gang members! This is nice, baby! Look at Lynn. Gang members!
Caitlin Clark is out here doing what legends dream of, bringing eyes, money, and a whole lot of conversation to the WNBA. Her best friend Kate Martin sees it firsthand and couldn't be prouder. But while the young guns are reaping the benefits of this new wave, the odds of the game are side-eyeing the situation. Like, where was all this when we were hooping? Kate Martin, she's riding the Clark effect like an express train to the big leagues. Undrafted, but scooped up because, well, when your best friend is single-handedly putting butts in seats, you get a little extra shine. It's like rolling with a popular kid in school. You might not have done much, but somehow you still get invited to the VIP section. And to be fair, Kate can hoop, but let's be real, the Caitlin Clark cosign is like winning the basketball lottery.
The WNBA get treated like the NBA. And if everybody don't simmer down and just follow this girl's lead and let this girl be the vessel for the WNBA to finally be treated like the NBA, because guys, guess what? Packed stands and ratings means more revenue. More revenue means you get treated like the NBA instead of like you got treated in the past.